Hi everybody, Diana here at Sew Uncommon, home of Build a Quilt, where we build our patchwork quilts with our embroidery machine. I know some of you know that because you've been with me for a while, but if you don't, that's what we're all about here at Sew Uncommon, and welcome to you all. So this is Sewcial Friday Live, or what I should say today, Sewcial Friday almost live, because this is pre-recorded and I'm not at home today. I had to be out, so I had to do this pre-recorded, and we're going to be kind of short today. Have just a few things that I want to review with you, because Sewcial Friday is usually about reviewing the week and new things, but we're going to go through this pretty quick today. So let's start off with Wednesday workshop from this week. So Wednesday workshop this week, last several weeks, I've been getting some emails about how do I use the Build a Quilt system. And by the system, they mean either our Build a Quilt Basics 1 or Basics 2 or both. How can I get the most out of this? Well, there's lots of ways you can do that. You can design your own quilts with these segment pieces, because these 6 segment pieces are the most often used pieces in quilting. Or you can take a pattern like we're doing with the Riley Blake patterns, which we'll talk about at the end, and translate that into using these pieces to make a quilt that you see that you really love. And we do both here at Sew Uncommon, because I don't design all the quilts. I design a lot, but sometimes, like with the Riley Blake, there are free patterns out there. I've translated them for free into the Build a Quilt so that we can all take part in that. So I've been getting questions about, like, how can I really get the most out of it? Well, for one, the Build a Quilt sets come in multiple sizes. You get multiple sizes of the segments. Let's talk about set 1 real quick with the half square triangle, the quarter square triangle, and the square. You get 4 different sizes of these segments, so you can mix and match them. You can make them all the same size. Whatever you want. You can go up to a 20, 30-inch block, depending on how many segments are in your rows. I mean, you can do just about anything with this. I did a large 60 by 60 quilt with it, the kaleidoscope quilt, that I translated from 1 block of a Lori Holt pattern for myself. I love it. It turned out great by using the Build a Quilt system. So this past Wednesday workshop, we are starting to go through the Build a Quilt system in a little more depth, taking what they call a deeper dive. I kind of don't like that phrase, but it's so popular. So we're taking a little deeper dive in there and talking about how to use that system more, so that those of you that have it can get the most out of it. So this week we did the roll of the dice block. Very simple block, half square triangles and squares. That's all it is. And it can be done in a couple of ways. So watch the Wednesday workshop video. In fact, I'll link it at the end here, and you can see all that we talked about on this block. I created this one as a 12 by 12, but in the video, I tell you, you can make this in several different sizes, and we go over all of that. And I chose to do mine as a 2-color block, but it can be made as much as a 6-color block, and you'll see that in the video as well. But this is one of the blocks that I like to call a filler, a companion block, something that isn't the main blocks of your quilt, but fills in those spaces around things, helps you go from color to color and things like that. So that's what we did this Wednesday. And I'll go ahead and give you a heads up for next week, because next Wednesday, for Wednesday workshop, we are going to be using the blocks from both set 1 and set 2, and we're going to be making one of quilters' all-time favorite blocks, the churn dash. Okay, now this is a small one I've made, and prior to this one, when I was making these a couple years ago, like figuring out the system, I even made this little bitty tiny one. So you can make we'll talk about the sizes you can make this in with the set, but we're going to be doing the churn dash. And that's a great one that you're going to want to have in your quilting library, because the churn dash gets used a lot in quilts. And so I think that one will be fun. I think you'll really enjoy this one, because unlike our roll of the dice, which is more that companion block to fill in, you can do whole quilts with just the churn dash block. So we're going to talk about that this Wednesday. Now, this Sunday for Quilt Lab, we've been talking about our block of the month, the diamond in a square, and you can either get that pattern at the website by itself. You get it in 3 sizes. You get an 8x8" finished, a 9x9, and a 12x12. So there again, you've got sizes to work with. That's it in the 15x15. This is it in the 9x9. And this configuration with these color changes are what we're using for a little project that we're making. That information all out on the website. You can grab, get your pattern, and then you can download the project information for free. The pattern is $7.95. You get all of those sizes, all the instructions, that kind of thing. And then this information is free. Now, if you're a Quilt Lab subscriber, you will have received your free coupon code and you can download that. And of course, it doesn't cost you anything at the time of download because it's part of the subscription. And I know I've sent those out to you folks. And speaking of that, our first Zoom Live for Quilt Lab subscribers is coming up on February 29th. That week, you'll get your link in an email from me. I didn't want to send them out too early because are you guys like me where you don't know how you got signed up for these emails or where they're coming from? I get close to 300 to 400 junk emails a day. I go through like once a month and just unsubscribe because I don't know how I ever got subscribed to them. I'm sure I bought something, clicked something, I've done it, I'm sure, but I don't know how I've done it. So I didn't want to send out those invites too early because I didn't want folks to lose them. But that's coming up on the 29th of February. I'm so excited to meet you all in person. That'll be the great thing. But this Sunday on Quilt Lab, we're actually going to be talking about this block, or the block actually that inspired this block, the card trick block, because you make it. The card trick can be made in a couple of ways. This is even a different variation of the card trick, but we're going to be talking about that this week. And I'm going to tell you how you can use your pattern that you have, the diamond in a square, or that pattern, plus if you own the Build a Quilt system, how you can make your card trick blocks in a couple of different variations. It'll be a lot of fun. Again, just trying to expand what you can use all of these great designs and blocks for. So this Sunday is all about the card trick, which kind of goes with the whole idea of the roll of the dice. I don't know how we ended up with cards and dice. I feel like we should have been in Vegas for the Super Bowl and maybe cast a bet. I don't bet, but maybe you could do that with the card trick and the roll of the dice. I say everybody wins with these 2 blocks, right? You don't have to bet anything for that. So that's coming up on Sunday's Quilt Lab. Now, the last big thing I want to share with you all is on Thursday, we launched our first video in the Riley Blake Block Challenge for 2024. The first 2 patterns are available out on the website for the Build a Quilt version. So the Vintage Delight and the Sparkle and Shine. So I'm going to do Wednesday workshop, link that at the end, and I'll link the Thursday video for the Riley Blake workshop too. And I know a lot of you are doing it because I've had to refill the inventory for these patterns several times just in the last couple of days. So I'm excited that you all are doing it, but I'll show you my blocks. Here's my Vintage Delight block. Now, like I tell you guys in the video, Riley Blake has some very specific colors that they're using. I thought this was kind of thick. I accidentally stapled a couple things together. But one of the things you can download or see at their website, and you'll get all that information in that other video, is the colors they're using, the fabrics they're using, in case you want to use their fabrics. I'm not, only because it was too late for me to actually get them before we were like in the middle towards the end of March, because I have to order mine since I live in the country and there's no shop in my area. And some people were already out, that kind of thing. But in Thursday's video, we go over how this is created. We talk also about a tip about pressing your seams for these blocks, because the way I normally press for Build a Quilt blocks is with my seams open, because when I digitize these patterns, I digitize them with a tiny stitch length. So normally a stitch length would be like a 3 or a 2.5. I stitch them at a 1.8. So they're nice and tight. You don't have any unraveling. You don't have anything poking through those seams. And so it takes a little of the bulk out of your seams, and it's much easier with the Build a Quilt system to press open. So with this one, you press open, but with the Sparkle and Shine, we press this one a little bit differently, and you'll check that out in the video. So this is Vintage Delight. This is my Sparkle and Shine block, which was week number 2. Now, yes, this one is smaller than this one, and that's because when I first made my sample, I digitized my files the wrong size. So I went back in and redigitized them. So you guys will be making the 10-inch block, like Riley Blake is doing. All of these blocks is 10-inch, and so are we here at Sew in Common. But I accidentally, when I was doing my prototype block, I digitized the wrong size. That's all right. I like this. I'll use it for something, but I'll have to remake mine. Now, these colors are not the colors in the block. This block should be more like these colors, these kind of salmony colors, but I didn't have any that I really liked. So I'll remake this for the quilt. This will just stay a sample block. Isn't it pretty? Lori Holt put this one together for us. She did a lovely job. Vintage Delight. And then Beverly McCullough did this one for us called Sparkle and Shine. This, again, to me is one of those fill-in blocks, right? I wouldn't consider this to be a main block. I mean, it could be. Any block can be a main block, but I can see this filling in throughout a quilt. So I'm very excited to see what their layout is going to be at the end of May when this all finishes up, because we'll have 16 blocks in the quilt challenge with them. They're the block challenge. And this one, there's a couple little extra videos in Thursday's piece with this information in it. These how you piece these and how we put this one together. So those are our blocks. I'll link that at the end, and you can get your free patterns and you can download all of the Riley Blake stuff. Next week we'll be doing 3 blocks because I'm trying to get us caught up because we started a few weeks behind. So all of that's in there. Now, I normally like to show you guys like new products and things like that. I didn't have anything really new this week, but I did want to show you something because, you know, in our regular Build a Quilt patterns, you get your, let's not show you that one. Let's show you a better one. I know I've got some here. You get your coloring sheet so that you can color and kind of work with color before you end up doing your cutting your fabric. So this is the coloring sheet. Can you see that? I know it's a little shiny. That was the coloring sheet for our holiday wreath that was our fanciful floret. Okay. So I'm always telling you, you can use crayons, you can use colored pencils, whatever you like. But there is a colored pencil that I really like. It's by Crayola, you know, the crayon people, and it's called their Twistables. Now I have an 18 pack. I think they have a bigger pack too. But this 18 gives me enough colors to work with. And they do have in here, if I can get it to pop out. Oh, I might already have it out somewhere because I was using it the other day. But they have the color I love. But this twists at the bottom, and you can see that the little tip of the thing comes out. So it's like a color pencil lead in here, but it's twistable. You don't have to sharpen it and things like that. And then you can get good shading and stuff if you want to go that far with it. But I like these a lot. They're not expensive. I think I bought mine at Target. I think you can find them at Walmart. I mean, probably any discount store like that you can find them at, I'm sure, wherever you live. But they're called Twistable Colored Pencils by Crayola. I think they have crayons that are also twistable, the actual wax crayons. These are actually the colored pencils, so make sure. Now, if you want the crayon ones, that's cool, but the ones I really like using are the colored pencils. Not being sponsored by this, I just wanted to share that with you. I always like to give you something like that. All right, folks, so I told you this was going to be quick today, and I do apologize, but next week we'll be back for live. So next week, next Friday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I can't wait to see you then. We will be going live, and we'll have lots more to talk about. Week in review and all that's new, lots of goodies and stuff. So if you're looking for any of the Riley Blake patterns, the Build a Quilt set, anything like that, you can find it over at our website, sewincommon.com. We would love if you would subscribe to the channel. Our channel's really growing, and there's always room for more people. And it's only growing because of all of you. And it is truly my delight and my pleasure to have created this Build a Quilt system and make all of our beautiful patchwork with you all with our embroidery machine. It's super fun. It's that 21st century way to do patchwork, right? It's just the next kind of patchwork technique. And I love it. So please subscribe. And if I can ask you a true favor, would you please like and share these videos? That's what really allows people to see them and gets out to more people and brings them in to our little family of quilters here at Sew in Common. So if you would do that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Have a great Friday. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you Sunday for Quilt Lab, where we're going to talk about the card trick block, okay, which is a kissing cousin to our diamond in a cross block. Until next time, everybody, as always, sew life beautiful. Bye for now.